Hi, dear students. I welcome all of you for today's session on design and analysis of algorithms. In this session, let me have a discussion about two important optimization problems. One is a knapsack problem, and the other one is a job sequencing with deadlines. These two optimization problems, what we are going to discuss, are maximization problems. I mean, in these two problems, we are concerned with determining a solution that maximizes the profit. Okay. Now, let me have a look at agenda of today's session. At first, I'll give you an introduction to knapsack problem. Means I'll state you what actually knapsack problem is. Okay. And I tell you what actually an objective of this problem. Clear? So next, once we come to know about the problem statement of knapsack problem and its objective, okay, we can have any number of solutions. We can have any design strategies, say brute force strategy. Got it? So usually we will employ brute force strategy to determine a solution. But that brute force strategy will have some drawback. Okay. So to overcome that drawback, I will suggest a greedy algorithm for knapsack problem. Got it? So once you come to know about the problem statement of knapsack problem and its objective, got it? I'll state some drawback of brute force strategy and I'll present you a greedy approach for knapsack problem. Next, we are going to discuss one more optimization problem, that is job sequencing with deadlines. I said right, even it's a maximization problem. Means I will be looking for maximum profit. Means I will be looking for determining a solution with maximum profit. Okay, so first I'll tell you what actually the problem statement of job sequencing with deadlines. Okay, then usually when I give this problem to solve you guys, okay, so you people might present a brute force solution for this. Got it? So everyone will come up with a solution, usually brute force method. So then we'll identify what may be the drawback, what may be the limitation, that what may be the drawback, okay, in that brute force strategy. I'll highlight the drawback. Then how to overcome the drawback. Got it? We will have a look. So then to overcome the drawback, I'll present you a greedy method to solve job sequencing with deadlines. Okay. This is about agenda of today's session. Now, let me come to knapsack problem. So, a simple knapsack means bag. Got it? It's nothing but some container. Okay? You can treat it as a carry bag. Got it? So, now what actually the problem state? See here, you will be given n objects. Got it? And you will be given one knapsack. I said what actually knapsack is nothing but a carry bag. Okay. Now, I said there are n objects, right? So each object among these n objects has its own weight and its own profit. Okay, let me tell you. For example, if I say an ith object among these n objects, okay, let its weight be wi. Okay, and suppose if you include this object in your knapsack, in your carry bag, if you place this object if you're able to place this object into your knapsack, got it? You will get a profit, say pi. Got it? So clear with this? So what I said, you're given some n objects and you're given a carry bag. I'll call in this context knapsack. I said each object, say ith object, has a weight I, Wi. And if you are able to place this object I entirely into a knapsack, into a carry bag, why I say if we are able to place, got it? Why I say if we are able to place means even that bag has some capacity, got it? So I can place objects up to that capacity, clear? Got it? So sometimes we may not be able to place the entire object. We may need to place a fraction of object if no sufficient capacity in knapsack. Okay. So now what I said, if I am able to place an object entirely into a carry bag, that is knapsack, I'm going to get a profit PI. Got it? So so when I can place object I entirely into knapsack, if there is at least a capacity Wi in knapsack. I mean to say, knapsack has sufficient capacity to hold this object I. Got it? Clear. Now, if suppose I'm not able to place object I entirely, okay, if I am not able to place an object I entirely, then because of lag in the capacity available in the knapsack, okay, so then I may able to place a fraction of object. See, if sufficient capacity lacks, I mean to say if sufficient capacity is not available in knapsack, okay, then I can't place entire object I. Then I can place a fraction of object I. So let me call that fraction to be xi. Got it? Let me call that fraction to be xi. Then if I place a fraction xi of object I, okay, into a knapsack, then what the profit I'm going to get? That is pi into xi. Let me justify you. Okay. See, let me consider a knapsack has sufficient capacity to hold 1 kg of apples. Listen here. Let me assume knapsack has sufficient capacity to hold 1 kg of apples. Okay. Now, if 1 kg of apple is placed in a knapsack, assume that I'm going to get a profit of $100. Got it? If I am able to place 1 kg of apples into a knapsack, okay, I'm going to get a profit of $100. Now, what I assumed, knapsack has sufficient capacity to hold 1 kg of apples. So I can place this 1 kg of apples into knapsack. So I'll get profit $100. Got it? Means a profit of 1 kg of apple is $100. Suppose let me say in knapsack, it can hold up to half kg now. Got it? So I mean to say in knapsack hold some objects already. Now only half kg capacity is existing in knapsack. Only half kg capacity is existing in knapsack, available in knapsack. So now I can't place entire 1 kg of apples. So now I can place only half kg of apple. So I mean fraction of 1 kg. That is 0.5. 0.5 means half kg. Got it? There's nothing but half kg is nothing but 0.5. In fraction, we call it a 0.5. So I mean I can't place 1 kg of apple now because there's only half kg space left out in knapsack. So I'll place a fraction of 1 kg of apple, that is 0.5 kg. So now what's the profit I'm going to get? It's nothing but $50, right? What I said, if I place 1 kg of apples, I'll get $100 profit. But now I placed just a fraction, that is 0.5, that is half kg, right? So half kg when I place, I'm going to get $50 profit. So $50, that value how I'll get? Just nothing but 0.5 into 100. Clear? So what I said, the profit $50 what I got by placing half kg of apples into an knapsack is nothing but how we'll obtain just nothing but fraction 0.5 into profit that I'll get by entire 1 kg of apple, that is 100. So 0.5 into 100 is nothing but 50. Clear with this? So got it? So Now I repeat once again, listen cautiously. So you're given n objects and you're given a knapsack that is carry bag with capacity m. Okay. And as in general, let m be the capacity of knapsack. So each object, say ith object, has weight wi and a profit pi. So if I place entire object I into a knapsack, the profit I'm going to get is pi. If I place a fraction xi of object I into a knapsack, then what profit I'm going to get? That's nothing but xi into pi or pi into xi. Clear? You got justified, right? With an example of apple. Got it? So if I place entire 1 kg, profit is $100. If I place half kg of apple, that is 0.5 into profit of 1 kg, that is 100. Okay. In this case, if ith object represents 1 kg of apple, pi is nothing but 100, xi is nothing but 0.5. Then by placing a fraction of kg of apple, profit is 100 into 0.5 equals $50. Okay. Now, this is about problem statement. Now, what actually the objective means here? See here, you will be given n different objects, right? So now the objective is to obtain a filling of the knapsack that maximizes the total profit. Got it? The objective here is to obtain a filling of the knapsack that maximizes the total profit. Clear? So I repeat, what's an objective? To find, to determine, to obtain a filling of the knapsack that maximizes the total profit earned. Okay, so one and the condition here, see here, it's an optimization problem, I said, right? There's something I should maximize and subject to constraints. See, subject to constraint condition. So here what I said, knapsack is having capacity m. Clear? So what was the constraint in this case? The total weight of all chosen objects should not exceed m. Clear? I mean, I'll tell you. See, knapsack is of capacity m. Means I can place those objects, okay, those number of objects, okay. In no way the total weight of all the chosen objects in a knapsack should exceed m. Got it? Clear? Because the knapsack has capacity m. Got it? So constraint is knapsack is of capacity m. The total weight of all chosen objects should be at most maximum. At most means maximum m. Clear? So this is about a problem statement. Okay. So in mathematically, okay, how will represent knapsack problem? See, what I said is theoretically, I explained you problem statement. Now let me tell you mathematically. Okay. So here, what I said objective is to maximize. What is objective? Obtain a filling. Obtain a filling of the knapsack that maximizes the total profit. I repeat, the objective is to obtain a filling of the knapsack that maximizes the total profit earned. Okay, let me tell you, maximize summation for I between 1 and n pixi. Okay, let me tell you. See here, pixi means, let me say, you are given n objects, right? See, you are given n objects, okay, and based on those objects which yields maximum profit. Got it? So what you will do, say I want maximum profit means usual student what they will pay, they will locate those objects which gives maximum profit. Clear? Got it? So those subjects they will try to fill the knapsack. Let me assume those subjects they will try to fill the knapsack. Got it? So in some cases, what happens that the objects students use chosen, okay, among the objects students are chosen, some objects might be filled entirely into knapsack. Clear? Some objects might be filled entirely into knapsack because of capacity available, and some objects, okay, might be filled into knapsack a fraction. Got it? I mean, listen here. What actually that PIXI I'll tell you. You are given some n objects. Got it? So among those n objects, what cases might be? Some objects might be filled entirely into a knapsack. Got it? Then a few objects might have been filled a fraction of it, and some objects might not have filled at all. Clear? See here, suppose those objects which are filled entirely, okay, those objects contributes their profit, entire profit. Clear? I mean, those objects that are filled entirely into a knapsack will contribute their entire profit PI. In that case, XI is 1. So XI into their entire profit is considered. Got it? So in some cases, for some objects, a fraction, say XI of those objects have been filled. Then the profit contributed by them is PI into XI. I repeat, for some objects, not entirely, just a fraction, say XI might have been filled into a knapsack. Then profit contributed by those objects is nothing but PI into XI. Clear? So in some cases, okay, we have given n objects, okay, and what we will observe that some objects might not be able to fill into a knapsack because no more capacity left in the knapsack. The third case is that, clear, listen, third case is that a knapsack is entirely filled and there are some objects left out. So we are not able to place those objects left out into a knapsack, right? So then they won't contribute any profit. So in that case, XI is 0 because not even a fraction of those objects have been filled. So for those objects which are not filled into a knapsack, the contribution is 0 profit. So XI is 0. Got it? So this is a formal statement. Okay, optimization. Okay, that is maximize summation 1 between summation I between 1 and n PI XI. Okay, so what is this? This represents some objective. What is an objective? Obtain a filling of the knapsack that maximizes the total profit earned. Now there's a constraint. What is that constraint I said? See, knapsack is of capacity m. Clear? We require total weight of all chosen objects to be maximum m. So this is subject to, that is condition. Got it? So subject to summation I between 1 and n Wi xi should be less than or equal to m. What is the summation I between 1 and n Wi xi represents? Total weight of all chosen objects. See here, I repeat, summation I between 1 and n, what it represents? Summation I between 1 and n Wi xi. Sorry. Summation I between 1 and n Wi xi, what it represents? Total weight of all chosen objects. Got it? So that should be what? Should be less than or equal to capacity of knapsack, right? Clear? So this is a formal statement. Clear with this? So this is about problem statement of knapsack problem. Now, see here, I'll give you one problem on knapsack, okay, and I'll ask you to obtain a solution, okay, optimal solution. So what you will do, you students of if you are not aware of greedy method, okay, if you have not thought about this strategy, so you will come with a brute force solution. Got it? You will determine many possible fillings into a knapsack. Okay, you will come with different ways of filling into a knapsack subject to condition. Got it? You will come with the different ways. Okay, you will come into different ways of filling into a knapsack subject to constraint. Then you will determine profit of each cases. You will determine profit of each cases. Then you will say which case will yield maximum profit, and you will tell me answer as that case, that particular case which gives maximum profit. This is brute force. In brute force, what you have done, you will what you will do, you will determine, identify all possible fillings into a knapsack. Okay, subject to constraint, subject to condition. Then you will determine profit for each case. You will identify which case is with maximum profit, and you will tell me that as an answer. Got it? So means all those fillings subject to constraint 4.2 we call feasible solution, right? Clear? I have told you about feasible, optimal in previous session. So all those solutions, all those filling into a knapsack that satisfies constraints, that is 4.2 and 4.3, we call feasible solution. Got it? What actual feasible in this case? I told you, you people will come with different cases subject to constraint, right? So all those cases I can call a feasible because they didn't violate the constraint. I mean, those fillings didn't exceed the capacity of knapsack. But what was your answer? Among those cases, you identify which cases with maximum profit. Okay, that I'll call an optimal solution. Means all cases are feasible. Among those feasible, one is an optimal, which is with maximum profit. Got it? So an optimal solution is a feasible solution for which 4.1 is maximum. It means that maxima is summation I between 1 and pi xi is maximum. Clear? So now let me take one example. Okay, and let me tell you, let me consider I give this problem to you, and you will solve me, right? How you will solve? If I have not taught you greedy strategy, you will solve using brute force. Got it? We'll solve using brute force, and we'll see how you will solve. Okay. Now consider there are three objects. Okay, and the knapsack is with capacity 20 units. Okay, consider you are given three objects, and knapsack is of capacity 20 units. Okay, let the profits of those three objects, okay, be P1, P2, P3. That is 25, 24, 15. Okay, units. Got it? So what I said, you are given three objects, knapsack with capacity 20 units. Got it? And profits of those three objects are 25, 24, and 15 units. And what about the weights of those three objects? 18, 15, 10. Clear with this? So listen cautiously. I repeat, you are given three objects and you are given a knapsack with capacity 20 units. Okay, n equals 3 means three objects, m equals 20 means knapsack capacity 20 units. Profits of those three objects, if you fill entirely, see here, P1, P2, P3 means profit you're going to get when you fill those objects entirely. Got it? 25, 24, and 15 units. And weight of those entire objects, okay, object 1, object 2, object 3 are 18, 15, and 10 units. Okay, W1, W2, W3, what it represents? Weight of entire objects. Got it? For example, let me say weight of object 1 is 18, right? Weight of object 1 is 18. If you want fill entire object, if you fill just a fraction, say 0.5 of object 1, I repeat, if you want fill object 1 entirely, but you fill a fraction of object 1, say 0.5. 0.5. Okay, so what will be the weight? The entire object weight is 18, means fraction 0.5 of that object weighs 9 units. Got it? So similarly, if you fill the entire object 1 into knapsack, you will get a profit 25. I repeat, if you fill the entire object 1 into knapsack, you will get profit 25. But if you fill a fraction, say 0.5 of object 1, if you fill fraction 0.5 of object 1, then profit you're going to get is 25 by 2. That is nothing but 25 into 0.5. 25 into 0.5. That's nothing but 25 into 1 by 2. It's nothing but 12.5. Clear? 12.5 is it? Right. So clear with this? So what I said, you are given 3 objects, you are given an knapsack with capacity 20 units. Profits of those 3 objects are 25, 24, 15 units. Weights of those 3 objects are 18, 15, 10 units. Now you need to determine an optimal solution. That is a filling into a knapsack that maximizes profit. So consider what I said. If you fill object 1 entirely, okay, you will get profit 25. But if you fill an object 1 a fraction of 0.5, okay, then profit is 25 into 0.5, that is 12.5. Clear? So now I've given this problem and I'll ask you to determine an optimal solution. Now, let me say one student, okay, has given me a brute force solution. What I said in brute force, you will identify some possible cases, some possible filling into a knapsack without violating the constraint. See, you will identify some possible fillings into a knapsack. You will identify some possible fillings, some possible cases, some fillings into a knapsack without violating the constraint. Then you will determine profit for each case. Then you will identify case with maximum profit and you will tell me that filling as an optimal solution. Clear? Got it? So that is what I call brute force approach. See here, here on the slide you can see 4 such possibilities. Okay, of course, along with this 4 there may be other possibilities too. Along with this 4 there are other possibilities too, but here I have shown you 4 possibilities. Got it? I have shown you 4 possibilities. Okay, or some student have come up with 4 possibilities. In first possibility, he has placed a fraction 1 by 2 of first object, a fraction 1 by 3 of second object, a fraction 1 by 4 of third object. Okay, so what the total weight of all chosen objects in knapsack now is 16.5. So of course less than or equal to 20, right? 16.5 is less than or equal to 20, means constraint is not violated, hence the first case 1 is a feasible, and profit in this case is 24.25. How we got 24.25? That is 25 into half plus 24 into 1 by 3 plus 15 into 1 by 3. Got it? So second case, the entire object 1 is filled into a knapsack, whereas for a second object, a fraction 2 by 15 is considered, and third object is not filled into a knapsack. Clear? So what is total weight of all chosen objects? Is 20. Less than or equal to 20, hence feasible. Clear? So what is profit I got? Is 28.2. Clear? So similarly, in third and fourth case. In third and fourth case, we find feasible with profits 31 and 31.5. Got it? I said along with these 4 possibilities, there may be some other possibilities too. Okay? There may be other possibilities too. Clear? So we have identified all possibilities. Okay, all feasible solutions. Among those feasible solutions, I have identified fourth case to be with maximum profit, and as that's a solution, optimal solution. Clear? So now this is this is a brute force method. Clear? So now what actually drawback in this case? Drawback is time consumption, because I need to list all possibilities, right? So it consumes a time. It consumes a time. So how to overcome? See, suppose we have some strategy. Okay, suppose we have some strategy. Through the strategy, I will come with only one case. That is the fourth case. See here, I will come up with some strategy. Through the strategy, I will identify only one case, and that is the fourth case. That leads to an optimal solution. Got it? See here, to overcome the drawback of brute force strategy, what I said, I should come up with a strategy that identifies, that determines only one case, that is fourth case, that leads to a maximum profit. Okay, and that strategy is greedy strategy. So now let me tell you about greedy method, greedy algorithm for knapsack problem. See here, first what I'll do, see, first I will assume, listen here, I'll tell you about an algorithm. First, I have assumed none of the objects have been filled into a knapsack. Clear? Initially, none of the objects have been filled into a knapsack. So in this program, what statement for I equals 1 to n, x of I equals to 0 means, it says that initially none of the objects have been filled into a knapsack. Means fraction of each object initially is 0, because none of the objects have been filled into a knapsack. Okay, so in finally at the end of this algorithm, okay, x of I represents fraction of ith objects chosen. Clear? I repeat, finally at the end, x of I represents fraction of the ith object chosen. And capital U equals m means it is some temporary variable that I have initialized initially to capacity of knapsack. Okay, now what I told, I want to come up with a strategy that identifies only fourth case, that is maximum profit, right? So listen cautiously. The idea behind greedy strategy is that you identify object among n objects which yields maximum profit per unit weight capacity. I repeat, you identify object that yields maximum profit per unit capacity. Got it? So then you sort out the objects in descending order of the profits. You sort out the objects in descending order of their profits. So what I said, first identify objects, okay, which yields maximum profit per unit capacity. I mean, first determine for each object what the profit they are going to give per unit capacity. Got it? Then sort out the objects in descending order of their profits. Got it? In this sorted order, the first object is the one which gives maximum profit per unit capacity, right? So let me fill this first object first into a knapsack. Clear with this? So after sorting out, the first object is with maximum profit per unit capacity. Got it? So if sufficient space is available in knapsack for first object, let me fill entirely. Got it? Then let me look for second object. If there is again sufficient space for second object, let me fill entirely. Next, third object, if there are no sufficient space, let me fill fraction. Clear? So this is concept in for loop. Okay. So I said objects are sorted in descending order of profit by weight, profit per unit capacity, right? So next, uh, what I'll do now, the same thing. See here, initial for in the first iteration, okay, a weight of I greater than u. Weight of I greater than u means the ith object chosen initially. Suppose if the first object's weight itself is greater than knapsack capacity, I can't fill first object, right? So I should come out of the loop. Then I should choose a fraction. So break. Okay. If that condition fails, there's sufficient space. So I can fill the entire object 1. So there is no fraction for first object. So xi equals 1. So after filling this ith object into, that is in my case, so first object into a knapsack. So what is the capacity left out? Capacity left out is the remaining space after filling the ith object, right? That is u will become u minus wi. Okay. This process you repeat. When there is this, see, control comes out of the loop only in two cases. When all n objects have been filled into a knapsack, means the knapsack is with the sufficient capacity to hold all objects. That's the one case. Or the other case is that when knapsack is not able to hold the ith object entirely. When knapsack is not able to hold the ith, means capacity in knapsack available is not sufficient to hold the ith object entirely. Capacity available in knapsack is not sufficient to hold ith object entirely. Then break happens, control comes out of the loop. Then what I'll do? If I less than or equal to n means, there's the second case, not the first case. First case means all n objects filled into knapsack. Second case, if I less than or equal to n, second case means ith object was not able to fill. So let me fill that fraction. What is that fraction? U by wi. Got it? So then now we have one. This is about greedy knapsack. In this algorithm, we'll have a solution vector xi. Okay, what is x of 1 to n means? X is a solution vector. It gives the fraction of all objects included. So once I have fraction of all objects, okay, how to determine profit? Summation I between 1 to n here xi. Clear? Once I have solution vector. So now let me consider the same example, I mean the same instance for knapsack problem. Okay. Just now we have seen how to solve knapsack problem. Okay, I mean we have seen how we have solved this knapsack problem using brute force solution, right? So in brute force solution, what we have done, we have listed all possible feasible solutions for this instance, right? So let me come back to the slide. So see here what I have done in brute force solution. What I should do, we should list all possible feasible solutions. I mean all possible filling into a knapsack without violating constraint. Clear? So after listing all feasible solutions, but after listing all possible feasible solutions, you need to determine the profit of all feasible solutions. Clear? So after determining profit of all feasible solutions, you will locate that one feasible solution with maximum profit. So then you will conclude that feasible solution as an optimal solution. Clear? So this is about brute force solution for solving knapsack problem. So in this case, what I've done, I've listed 4 possible feasible solutions. Clear? In this 4 possible feasible solution, I found the 4th case to be with maximum profit. So what you have done? You have concluded the 4th case as optimal solution. Clear? With a profit of 31.5. And solution vector is 0, 1, off. Got it? Now, what is problem drawback in this brute force solution? Is a time consumption. Its time efficiency is not good. Means it's lower solution. Got it? Because lower, because I need to list all possible feasible solution, all possible filling into a knapsack without violating constraints. Got it? So I need to work on this drawback. So how to overcome this drawback? I need to come up with strategy. Okay, with that strategy, I am able to determine only one feasible solution which will lead to an optimal solution. I repeat, to overcome drawback of brute force solution, okay, I should come up with a strategy. Okay, I need to look whether there's some strategy exist, or I need to look for a strategy that will identify, that will determine only one feasible solution which will lead to an optimal solution. Got it? Means this, I need to come up with a strategy that will come with only the fourth case in this example. Got it? So I should not determine other feasible solutions. Got it? So we have the strategy, and the strategy is a greedy strategy. Got it? So now let me see how greedy strategy overcomes the drawback of brute force solution. Okay, I mean, let me see how greedy strategy will determine only the fourth case in this case, in this example. I mean, how greedy strategy will determine only an optimal solution. Okay, so I told you, right? In greedy, we have discussed greedy algorithm. Clear? So greedy strategy, what it does, you fill the knapsack. Okay, greedy strategy, the idea behind greedy strategy is that you try to fill the knapsack with that particular object, which gives maximum profit per unit capacity. So I repeat, greedy strategy, what it states, you fill the knapsack first with the object that yields maximum profit per unit capacity. Got it? So first and foremost thing, what we need to do, we need to, first and foremost thing, we need to determine what is profit that each object are going to give per unit capacity. Got it? I repeat, first and foremost thing, I need to determine what profits each and every object are going to give per unit capacity. Got it? So now let me tell you in this example how to determine. Okay, so in this example I have given 3 objects. Clear? And I have given a knapsack with 20 units capacity. For simplicity, let me assume knapsack is capable of holding 20 kgs. Got it? Knapsack is capable of holding 20 kgs. For simplicity, let me assume unit for profits to be dollars. Got it? So also it's given the profits by filling each objects entirely into a knapsack will be $25, $24, $15 respectively. I mean, if you fill objects 1, objects 2, objects 3 entirely, you're going to get profits of $25, $24, $15 respectively. And also it's given that the weights of entire objects 1, objects 2, objects 3 are 18, 15 and 10 kgs respectively. Clear? So listen cautiously. From this problem statement, what you'll come to know is that if you fill entire object 1, okay, if you are able to fill entire object 1 whose weight is 18 kgs, right? It gives maximum profit, it gives profit of $25. Clear? Similarly, if you fill entire object 2 whose weight is 15 kgs, will give profit of $24. If you fill entire object 3 whose weight is 10 kgs, will give you profit of $15. Clear? So what greedy strategy says, if you try to fill knapsack with those objects, okay, which gives maximum profit per unit capacity. So clear? So I need to identify among these 3 objects which is that object and next objects, okay, which are going to give maximum profits per unit capacity. Okay, you know cross multiplications, right? You have studied in your school life cross multiplications. I'll take an advantage of that cross multiplication. Now let me tell you, object 1 weighs 18 kgs, okay, and it gives $25 profit. Clear? So what about the fraction of object 1? Suppose, see, entire object 1, that is 18 kg of object 1 gives $25 as a profit. Now using cross multiplication, so 1 kg of object 1 gives gives what profit? Is nothing but 25 by 18. Think of cross multiplication, it's very easy. Yeah, it means 18 implies 25, then 1 implies question mark, but 18 implies 25. I mean 18 kgs of object 1 implies $25 of profit. Got it? Then 1 kg of object 1 implies question mark. In that question mark, what we will get using cross multiplication is nothing but 25 by 18. Clear? So object 1 gives 25 by $18 per 1 kg capacity, per 1 kg. Got it? So now now in the same way I need to determine what is the profit object 2 and object 3 are going to give for 1 kg. Got it? So clear? So first and foremost thing, what I said, to determine, we need to determine the profit each objects are going to give. Each objects are going to give for 1 unit capacity. Got it? So listen, 18 kgs of object 1 gives $25 profit. So 1 kg of object 1 gives 25 by 18, that is $1.4 as a profit. Similarly, 15 kgs of object 2 gives $24 as profit. So 1 kg of object 2 gives 24 by 15, that is $1.6 as a profit. 10 kgs of object 3 gives $15 as a profit. So 1 kg of object 3 gives what? 15 by 10, that is $1.5 as a profit. So look at the last row in the table. The last row, that is 1.4, 1.6, 1.4, what actually represents means there's the profit those objects are going to give per 1 unit capacity, per 1 unit weight. Clear? So now I've determined per unit capacity what profit is going to be given by each object. Now what greedy strategy says to determine optimal solution? You fill knapsack with objects which gives maximum profit per unit capacity first, then fill the next profitable object. Repeat this. Got it? So now with this, what I am able to see, the object that gives maximum profit is object 2, then object 3, then object 1. I repeat, the maximum profit that is going to be given by object 1 followed by object 2 followed by object but don't get confused. See, look at third row. The maximum profit given by object 2, got it, followed by object 3 followed by object 1, got it. So object 2 gives maximum profit, the next object, that is object 3, gives the next maximum profit, object 1 gives the minimum profit. So which object let me fill into a knapsack? Let me fill object 2 first because it gives maximum profit. Clear with this? So now, clear with this, let me fill object 2 first because it gives maximum profit. So what is the weight of entire weight of object 2? It's 15 kgs. Okay, now whether this knapsack has sufficient capacity to hold 15 kgs of object 2? Yes, knapsack weighs knapsack is capable to hold 20 kgs of 20 kgs. Object 2 weighs just 15 kg. So let me fill this object 2 entirely. So let me fill object 2 entirely into knapsack. Got it? So now, so I'm going to fill entire object 2. So what is x2? X2 is 1 in this case because there's no fraction. I filled entirely object 2. So x2 is 1. Remember, see here, x2 is, see in this table, x2 is 1 because I'm going to fill object 2 entirely because object 2 weighs 15 kgs and knapsack is sufficient to hold up to 20 kgs. So you got it right, x2 is 1. So now after filling this object 2, how many space are left out in knapsack? Just 5 kgs. So this 5 kgs I should fill with that particular object, which gives next maximum profit. So next maximum profit is given by object 3. So what about the weight of object 3? Entire weight of object 3 is 10, but in knapsack available capacity is 5 kgs. Clear? A knapsack now available is 5 kgs. So I can't fill this entire object 3. Got it? So I should fill a fraction of object 3, that is half of the object 3. Got it? Because object 3 weighs 10 kgs, but in knapsack only 5 kgs left. So I will fill half of the object 3. So what is x3 now? It is half. Got it? That's nothing but 5 by 10. How I'm going to get? See, what is 5 by 10? What is 5? Available space in knapsack. 5 is 5 by 10. See, fraction now is half, right? That's nothing but 5 by 10. So how I got this half of 5 by 10? 5 is available space in knapsack. Got it? 10 is weight of the object I've chosen now. Got it? 5 by 10. 5 is available space in knapsack. 10 is the entire weight of the object I have chosen now. I have chosen now is the object 3. So what is x3? It's nothing but half. That is nothing but 5 by 10. So look here in this table, x3 is half. Clear? x3 is half. Now I filled object 3, right? 5 kgs of object 3. That is fraction half of the object 3 has been filled into a knapsack. Now is there any space left out in a knapsack? There are no more space. There are no more space. Means I'm not able to fill any other objects. The other object left out is object 1, and I'm not able to fill this object 1. So what is x1? It's 0. x1 is 0. Got it? Clear with this? So now you determined x1, x2, x3. Clear? So now, what is profit? Profit is nothing but, I told you, right? It's nothing but summation I between 1 and n. Here I have not written that I between 1 and n, but it's between 1 and n, pi xi. Got it? So since for first x1 it's 0, I have not shown that term. Okay, actually I should have shown as 25 into 0 plus 24 into 1 plus 15 into, I should have shown. See here, we know optimization function, right? That is summation I between 1 and n pi xi. Got it? See here, in this last column, okay, I have shown 24 into 1. 24 is P2, x2 is 1, plus 15 into up. 15 is P3, and off is x3. I have not shown 25 into 0 because 25 into 0 is nothing but 0. And what is this profit? $31.5. Got it? Clear with this? So through greedy strategy, I come up with only an optimal solution, right? I have not determined other feasible solutions like in brute force strategy. Clear? So just cross verify. See, in brute force solution, the fourth case, profit is 31.5. Got it? Which is an optimal. And solution vector 0, 1, off. The same year we determined using brute force strategy. 0, 1 off with 31.5 profit. Okay. And this fourth column, summation I between 1 and WIXI, that is constraint, right? Clear? So all of you are clear with knapsack problem. Got it? The exam point of view, it's very important. And it's very easier once you understand. So now let me discuss one more maximization problem, job sequencing with deadlines. It's very easier. Okay. So now first let me state you the problem statement. Let me state you the problem statement of job sequencing with deadlines. I mean, what actually this problem means. Listen, we are given a set of n jobs. Okay, we are given a set of n jobs. Yeah, so let me designate those jobs as J1, J2, J3, and the last job is Jn. Okay, and if associated with each job I, okay, there's a deadline Pi greater than or equal to 0 and profit Pi greater than or equal to 0. Means you are given n jobs. Jobs are nothing but some task. Okay, got it? So there is some deadline before which you need to finish the job or you need to finish the task. Got it? So I must say you need to complete the second task within next 5 minutes. Or I may say you need to complete the third task within next 2 minutes. Got it? So this we call deadline. Got it? So for each job, say for example, ith job, there's a deadline associated with it. Means before which I need to finish the task. And if you are able to finish the task or job within its deadline, you're going to get a profit Pi. Got it? If you can complete a job before its deadline, you will get a profit Pi. Got it? So, and now, how to do this job? How to execute this job or this task? There is one machine. Okay? We have one machine, one and only one machine. Okay? And the condition is that each job should be executed on that machine. And at a time, only one job can be executed. Each job should be executed on that machine. At a time, only one job can be executed. Okay. So I repeat, each job should be executed on this machine. And at a time, only one job can be executed. Clear? So each job requires only 1 unit of time to execute. And one more thing, each job requires only 1 unit of time for execution. Clear? So I repeat this problem statement. We are given n jobs. Say J1, J2, and the last be the Jn. For each job, there is an associated deadline, means before which time I should complete. And if I complete job within his deadline, I'm going to get profit PI. So to do this task, to do this job, I have a machine. All tasks should be done on that machine. And at a time, only one task can be done or one job can be done. And each job to execute requires 1 unit of time. Got it? So now, see, each job has their own profit, has their own deadline. Got it? Each job has their own profit and their own deadline. If you complete a job within this deadline, you are going to get some profit associated with that job. Okay, so here I've given n jobs, right, along with this deadline and profit. So here the feasible solution means, okay, all those subset of jobs, means among these n jobs, those subset of jobs which can be done within his deadline, we call feasible. See, I'll make you understand easily. You are given n jobs, each with their own deadline and their profit. Clear? Here, feasible conditions that, okay, job should be executed within its deadline. The condition is that job should get executed within its deadline. Got it? Job should finish its execution before its deadline. So I can let me treat this set of collection of jobs as a set. It's nothing but set. Okay, set of jobs. You know, set for a set, you know, subset. You can form any number of subsets, right? We have almost subset. A set with 10 elements are 2 power n subsets. With the null set and a set itself, 2 special subsets. Clear? Got it? See here. But all this if you exclude the null set and the set, or if you exclude null set, okay, exclude null set, all these subsets may not be feasible. Some may be feasible. I'll tell you which are not feasible, which are feasible. So in this, if in a subset, if all jobs can be executed before their deadline, then that subset I'll call a feasible. I repeat, so you're given set of n jobs, each with their deadlines and profit. So we have 2 power n subsets, of which one is a null set. Got it? And other one is a set itself. Among these subsets, okay, we call some subsets to be feasible, some may not be feasible. If I want to call a subset to be feasible, in that subset, all those jobs should be completed within its deadline. Okay, in a subset, if there exists any job which can't be finished within its deadline, then that subset I call as infeasible. Clear? I repeat, in a subset, if there is at least one job which can't be done, completed before its deadline, then such a subset I call infeasible. Otherwise, I'll call a subset to be feasible. Got it? Then, what is an optimal solution? Means the value of feasible solution. See here, and now we have feasible, as in that now we have listed feasible subsets. So then, what is the profit of feasible subsets? Means sum of the profits in that profits of those jobs in that subset. See here, listen, here subsets, here feasible subsets. Got it? Now, what is profit of feasible subset? Means it's nothing but sum of profits of all jobs in that feasible subset. I repeat, what is the profit of feasible subset? the profit of feasible subset is sum of the profits of all the jobs in that subset. Got it? So now I listed feasible subsets. Okay. I know each feasible subset profit I know. Then which feasible subset I'll call to be an optimal? That feasible subset with maximum profit. Got it? So which feasible subset I'll call optimal? That subset whose profit is maximum, means the subset, okay, feasible subset whose profit is maximum. Clear? So now let me take you an example. Okay, first what I'll do, I will let me have a look at brute force strategy. So assume that you are not aware of a greedy strategy. Then if you are given problem, what you will do? You will solve with the brute force solution. When we solve with brute force solution, we will okay. When we solve with brute force solution, okay, we will identify the drawback of brute force solution. Okay. Then how to overcome the drawback? We will look for the design strategy, that is greedy. Got it? So now, see here. First, I'll tell you brute force approach. See, I given one example. There are 4 jobs: J1, J2, J3, J4. Okay. See, for this 4 jobs, the associated profits are 100, 10, 15, $27. Means if you finish jobs 1, 2, 3, 4 within their deadlines, okay, you're going to get a profit of $100, $10, $15, $27 respectively. And there's a what is deadline here? D1, D2, D3, D4. They are deadlines. So your deadline D1 is 2, D2 is 1, D3 is 2, D4 is 1. So what actually it means to say, see, D1 equals 2, right? D1 equals 2. It means the job 1 should be completed in next 2 minutes. See, I repeat, D1 equals to 2. Means job 1 should be completed in next 2 minutes. Okay. You can't initiate job 1 after 2 minutes. You can't initiate job 1 after 2 minutes. Job 1 should be completed within next 2 minutes. Then you will get a profit associated with job 1, that is $100. Got it? So D2 equals 1 means the job 2 should be completed within next 1 minute. Similarly, D3 equals to 2 means job 3 should be completed next 2 minutes. D4 equals to 1 means job 4 should be completed next 1 minute. Clear? So now, what you will do, in this set there are 4 possible 4 jobs, right? Let me call them as J1, J2, J3, J4. See, you studied discrete mathematical structures. You know sets, subsets. Clear? So if a set, let me say, in a set there are n elements, there are 2 power n subsets. One is null set and the other one is a set itself. Okay. See, just I've shown you 9 subsets. Okay. I've shown just 9 subsets because they are the feasible subsets. Actually, I will get 2 to the power 4. How much? 2 to the 4, 4 to the 16 subsets. Among those 16 subsets, okay, 7 is infeasible because in those 7 subsets, okay, there are some jobs which can't be done within its deadline. Okay. So I have not shown those 7 subsets. I have listed the 9 feasible subsets. Okay, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 2, 3, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But in third column, see here, third column shows a sequence. Okay, which job should follow which? See, I mean, in the first feasible subset contains first two tasks, task one and task two. But which task should be done first and next? That is sequence. See here, and first feasible set procuring sequence says that you finish task two, okay, first, because task two should be completed within the next 1 minute, right? Then do task one. Clear? Similarly, for example, let me say for example, third task, third subset, third feasible subset. Okay, consider third feasible subset. In that case, procuring sequence, what it says now, you do execute task 4 first because it should be completed in next 1 minute. Then you follow task 1 because it has a time up to next 2 minutes. Yeah. So in this case, I will see 9 feasible subsets I have. I will then what you need to do? You need to determine a profit of each possible feasible subsets. So how to determine profit? Profit of a feasible subset is nothing but sum of the profits of all the jobs in that feasible subsets. Clear? So for a first feasible subset, task 1 and 2, right? So 100 plus 10, 110 is a profit. For second feasible subset 1, 3, 100 plus 15, 150. Similarly, I'll determine profit of each possible subset. Got it? After determining the profits of all feasible subset, I locate that feasible subset with maximum value. Okay, that is third feasible subset, and that is an optimal solution. See, in brute force, I listed all possible feasible subsets. It's a time consumption. So to overcome this drawback, I need to look for a strategy that will identify only one feasible subset, that is third case, the third one in this case, that will lead to an optimal solution. Okay, so that strategy we call greedy strategy. Got it? So let me see greedy strategy. See, greedy strategy, what it says, yeah, the main objective is that how we can decide the next job to be chosen. Got it? See here, the main thing here is how to determine the next job is chosen. Got it? See, got it? To maximize the objective function, how to choose the next objective, next job. So as a first attempt, we can choose objective function. As our objective function here is, what is that? In an optimal subset, sum of the profits of all the jobs, right? For example, if J represents an optimal subset, okay, summation I belongs to J, Pi. Got it? So clear? See, and the next job I am going to choose, okay, should yield maximum profit. See, the next job I'm going to choose should yield maximum profit and should be completed within this deadline. So what I should do, I should arrange jobs in decreasing order of their profits. Decreasing, I mean non-increasing order of the profits. Okay, first thing, you arrange the jobs in decreasing order of the profits. So let me see. First thing, okay, I'll give. So now let me have a look at one example problem on job sequencing with deadlines. Here we are given 4 jobs. Okay, let me call them as job 1, job 2, J1, J2, J3, J4. Okay. So also given the profits associated with these 4 jobs are $100, $10, $15, $27. And deadlines associated with this 4 jobs are 2, 1, 2, 1. Okay. So what deadline D1 implies? See, D1 equals to 2. It means you should finish job 1 within next 2 minutes. Clear? So if you finish job 1 in next 2 minutes, you will get $100 profit. So D2 equals 1, it implies job 2 should be done in next 1 minute. If you do job 2 in next 1 minute, you will get its associated profit $10. Similarly, D3 equals 2 means D task 3, job 3 should be finished in next 2 minutes. Then you will get its associated profit $15. D4 equals 1 means you should complete task 4, job 4 in next 1 minute, and you'll get its associated profit $27. Okay. So in brute force, I have listed feasible subsets, right? 9 feasible subsets I have listed. Then I have identified an optimal subset. Got it, with maximum profit. So it was time consumption. So now what I'll do, I'll choose a greedy method. Greedy method, what it says that, okay, you arrange jobs in non-increasing. I mean, arrange jobs in decreasing order of their profits. Means greedy, it says that you try to finish the job first, which gives maximum profit. Got it? Greedy, what it says, you try to finish jobs first with maximum profit. Got it? So then, so we will arrange first jobs in non-increasing, decreasing order of profits. Clear? Clear with this? So what greedy strategy says? You finish those jobs with maximum profit before their deadlines. I mean, first, but before their deadlines. Means choose the jobs with the maximum profit. Got it? So to choose the jobs with maximum profit, first we will arrange the jobs in non-increasing, decreasing order of the profits. Non-increasing means decreasing. So now job 1 with max profit, followed by job 4 with second max profit, followed by job 3 with the third max profit, followed by job 4. Got it? So now to determine optimal subset, okay. First, let me assume the optimal subset to be determined is null. Let me call it as J. J equals null means still I have not chosen any job. Clear? I have not chosen any job. So what is optimization function value here? Summation I belongs to J, P equals 0 because J is a null. Got it? So now let me, I have arranged right job 1 followed by job 4 followed by job 3 followed by job 2. So in this, first let me select job 1 and let me add into let me unite it into subset J. So now J equals a set with only one element, that is 1. That is job 1. Now whether this J feasible? Yeah, it's a feasible because in this J there is only one task, that is job 1, and it has still 2 more minutes to finish. So this task 1, job 1 can be initiated immediately or may be initiated after 1 minute. Clear? So it's feasible. So what is the value now? It's $100. So next what I'll do, next to maximum profit, that will be given by job 4. So select job 4. Include this into J. So now J is 1, 4. Is it feasible? Check it. So J now contains 2 tasks, 2 jobs, 1 and 4. So task or job 1 can be finished it has a deadline up to next 2 minutes. It has time, right, up to 2 minutes. Whereas a task 4, it has a deadline next 1 minute. So to check it is feasible means if I want to call this as feasible, then this task 1 and 4 should be completed with their deadline. So what is the sequence I need to follow? So since task 4 should be completed with the next deadline, okay, so let me finish task 4 first. Got it? Next, let me start off as soon as task 4 finishes, let me initiate task 1. Got it? So I'll initiate task 1 at time 1 and it will finish within next 2 minutes. Got it? See here, all tasks requires 1 unit for execution. Remember? So, got it. So solution J equals 1, 4 is also feasible. But in this sequence of executions, task 4 followed by task 1. So what is value? Now 100, sorry, for task 4 is $27. Got it? For task 4, $27. Task 1, it is $100. Totally, they will contribute $127. Okay. So next to max profit job is job 3 with $15. Okay, now if I include this job 3, what happens that J will become 134. Whether it's feasible, it's not feasible because see here for job 1, it has time, right? See here, in 134, okay, the max profitable jobs are job 1 and job 4. Got it? So, and job 3 should say job 3 deadline is 2. Clear? But if I first I'll assume that I finished job 4, I got $27, right? I got $27. Got it? Clear? I have done a job 4. I'll get the $27 because see here, don't get once again. 1 3 job 4 I'll do first. See, look here, I've included job 3 in subset. Okay, so in subset there are 3 jobs: job 1, job 3, job 4. So job 4 should be completed within 1 minute, so I will do it first. Got it? So I got profit $27. But among job 1, job 3, both should be completed within next 2 minutes, within 2 minutes, right? But in first 1 minute, job 4 is done. So next 1 more minute is left. Which job I should prefer now, whether job 1 or job 3? If I prefer job 1, I'll get $100. If I prefer job 3, I will get $15. So which one is best? Execute job 1. Got it? So job 1 will be done, but job 3 is left out, right? So in this set J now, there is one job, that is job 3, which can't be finished within its deadline. So what I'll call this set J now? Infeasible. Clear? So selecting job 3 will lead to infeasible. Similarly, the last job, that is job 2, if I select, again it will lead to infeasible because I can't able to complete job 2 within its deadline, because I'll give priority for job 1 and job 4 because they yield maximum profit and they will complete within its deadline. So if I do task 1 and 4 within the deadline, job 2 can't be initiated because the deadline is exhausted. Got it? Expired. So even selecting job 2 will be infeasible. So in feasible set, there will be only 2 jobs, that is job 1 and job 4. Got it? And the execution is sequence is job 4 first, because job 4 should be completed within next 1 minute, and it will be followed by execution of job 1 because it has time up to next 2 minutes. Got it? So just set J equals 1, 4 is a feasible and it's an optimal. and with profit 127. Got it? So clear with this? So just review brute force solution. There I have listed see I have listed 9 feasible subsets, right? And then I determined the value of each subset. Then I have selected one subset with max value, that is third subset with the value 127, and I consider that's an optimal. It was time consumption, so I suggested greedy strategy. So greedy strategy, what it has done, it has come only with this third subset. Clear? Got it? So this is about job sequencing with deadlines. Okay, so all of you are clear with two important maximization problems discussed in this session: knapsack problems and job sequencing with deadline. Both we have solved using greedy strategy. This is about today's session. Thank you for listening.